Thank you, Chair, and thank you, members of the committee. On behalf of the Commission of Inquiry, I'm very pleased to have this opportunity of joining you today at this meeting. This meeting this week marks the end of the terms of the first group of commissioners on our Commission of Inquiry. It's an appropriate time for us to reflect back on our work over the 4 years that we have been part of the Commission, but particularly over the last 2 years. Our final report to the General Assembly, produced this week, is very much the culmination of our work over this particularly last 2-year period. The period since 7 October 2023, when Palestinian militants attacked kibbutzim, military bases and a music festival in southern Israel, and the Israeli military and government responded with enormous force in a 2-year offensive on the people of Gaza that is only now come to a pause. Since 7 October 2023, our Commission has been focusing very much on developments in Gaza, but also on the implications in the West Bank, including East Jerusalem. We started by looking at those events on 7-8 October 2023 and on the first few months that followed them. We found, for example, that Palestinian militants had committed war crimes in southern Israel during the course of their attacks on those first 2 days. And we also found that Israeli forces in the Gaza Strip over those first 3 months committed war crimes and crimes against humanity. Our work has looked at different sectors of Gazan society. We examined the concerted attacks that have sought to destroy the healthcare system, the attacks on education, sex and gender-based violence. We have looked at destruction of cultural property, churches, mosques, museums, libraries, archaeological sites. In our report this week to the General Assembly, we have looked at the destruction of housing and land clearance operations. In all of those reports, we have found that the Israeli authorities, civil, political and military, have been responsible for the commission of war crimes and crimes against humanity. In this report to the General Assembly, we also look at the issue of genocide. Our approach throughout the 2 years has been a standard legal approach. We have found the facts, we have formed conclusions, and we have applied the law to the facts as we have found them. That's how we came to conclusions relating to war crimes and crimes against humanity. Consideration of genocide requires a much more comprehensive examination, and that has been possible only now, when our various sectoral investigations have been completed and reported. Because the reports to the General Assembly are so strictly limited as to words, less than 10,000 words now, we felt that we could not do justice to the issue of genocide in the General Assembly report. And so we dealt with it comprehensively in a report more than 70 pages in length, released a couple of weeks ago in Geneva. And we have summarised those findings in our report to the General Assembly presented this week. We have found that the facts that we have come to, arising over the last 2 years, constitute genocidal acts in 4 of the 5 categories of genocidal act specified in the Genocide Convention. We also examined the question of genocidal purpose and found that both directly and indirectly that purpose had been established. Genocide is a very serious international crime. So too are war crimes and crimes against humanity. And having found these crimes having been committed, war crimes in southern Israel on 7-8 October 2023, war crimes, crimes against humanity and genocide in Gaza, we call for accountability. There can be no peace without accountability. There can be no justice without accountability. That is perhaps the most important message coming from our report. We hope desperately that the fighting has come to an end, that people both in Gaza, in the West Bank, in Israel, have a chance to recover from the traumas that they have suffered over these last 2 years. We know, however, that there can be no lasting peace without the full involvement of the people themselves, Palestinian and Israeli. It's not for outsiders to impose peace, because that won't be a true peace. It will not be a lasting peace. This first commission, we first members of it, complete our term expressing that hope for true peace in Israel and Palestine. Thank you.